This story takes place in 2014 with a man named Joe who was living in New York. Now, Joe made a profile on a gay hookup site called Grindr, and it was there that he met a young 24-year-old named Forhi from Colombia. Now, Forhi was in the United States illegally because his tourist visa had expired a few times. So Forhi and Joe agreed to meet on May 15th, 2014 at Joe's condo for a hookup. But little did Joe know that he was about to be the main character in a major scam. So shortly after they had their hookup, Forhi moved in with Joe. And then on June 15, 2014, Forhi proposed to Joe. Now, Joe would go on to say that that was the happiest day of his life. They had planned a wedding and they were really in love. Then they were going to have the wedding, and then Forhi had said that he wanted to go back to Colombia to see his mother before she died because I guess she had cancer, and he was afraid that if they planned the wedding and waited too long, he wouldn't be able to get to Colombia in time. So they decided to get married in the courthouse and then later on have a honeymoon. So they got married on July 11, 2014 at the courthouse. And then Forhi got a temporary visa and they were able to travel and they went on a honeymoon. It was during that honeymoon that Forhi got news that his mother had passed away. Now, Forhi did not show any remorse or grievance at all about his mother's death, and Joe thought that this was a strange thing. Until later, he had done some searching on online media to see if there's any posts of condolences or sympathy towards the death of his mother, and there wasn't any. So Joe thought it was strange, but he didn't question him anymore about it because everybody grieves differently. So in 2015, Forhi wanted to go back to Colombia to visit his family. But he said that he was afraid to go there because his life was in jeopardy because he had owed the cartel $5,600. So Joe happily paid for it so they could get it out of the way so he could travel to Colombia to visit his family. Then in December of 2015, Forhi asked Joe if he was willing to invest in a nail salon franchise in Colombia with some of his family members. The investment would be $10,000 and he would receive $25 equity for the business. As time went on, Joe never received one dime up until this day. Well, a month after they were married, a woman had called who had a very strong Spanish accent, telling Joe that he needed to put Forhi's name on the condo right away, ASAP, and that everything that Joe owned now was 50% of Forhi's. Now, Joe did question that and thought it was strange, and he did do investigation and found out it not to be true. Then, to top that all off, young 24-year-old Forhi takes out an insurance policy on his 44-year-old spouse, Joe. Now, Joe never knew about it until the papers came in the mail addressed to Forhi, and Joe checked them out and found out that his spouse had taken a life insurance policy out on him. When Joe questioned Forhi said, everybody takes out life insurance policies on their spouses. And Joe said, no, they don't. Not a 24-year-old. They don't take out life insurance policies on their husbands. Then in 2018, Forhi received his green card. And in April 2019, Joe received a $225,000 settlement for a lawsuit that he had been waiting for. And then April 29th, Forhi tells Joe he wants a divorce and that he's going to leave him and that half of that $225,000 is his and everything else is half his. So let's fast forward. For he has left Joe, that was 2019. This is 2021. For he had divorced Joe. The police have been to Joe's condominium 6 different times looking for him because for he has claimed spousal abuse. Joe is afraid to go back to his condo because he's afraid of being arrested. There's a lot more involved in all of this, but Joe is right now on the run. He's staying away from his condo, away from his home, away from his job, afraid of being arrested because of the lies that he has told the judge, the courts, about these horrible acts of violence that Joe has done to Forhe. Now, right now, things are all in the up and up for Joe. Like I said, he hasn't gone back home because the police have gone to his home 6 times, he says, looking for him, and he doesn't know what's going to happen, and he doesn't want to end up in jail. So at this current time, Joe wants his story to be told. He wants everyone to know what the injustice that has happened to him, the way he's been scammed, deceived, robbed from his spouse. His spouse is a criminal. He used him, he abused him, he used his money, his finances, his material possessions to gain access into this country. And now he is living the life here in the United States off of Joe's blood, sweat, and tears. So this is another terrible act, criminal act against people who are vulnerable, like Joe was, who fell in love with this young guy who just took advantage of him. So until next time, take care and bye for now.